Are you happy? Are you happy now? Are you happy? A lot of us are not happy. A lot of us spend a lot of time trying to find happiness, chasing after a nebulous concept of happiness, something we made up. And I think, after years of trying to do this, I think I've been doing it wrong. Because I don't think happiness is a destination, not anymore. Happiness is a collection of moments you encounter while traveling through life. Hi, my name is Jack Uzcategui. This is my channel where I talk about life. And today I want to talk a little bit about happiness. See, I've been feeling guilty. I've made myself feel guilty. I've been feeling guilty over the fact that I wanted to be the next Bill Watterson, the next Neil Gaiman, but I haven't been able to. And I've been writing, but not like writing, and always under the impression that there's something more out there that I'm lacking for me to finally be happy. And once I'm finally happy, then my life will be okay. I will be healed. Turns out that's not how it works. Happiness is not a monolithic sort of goal we can aspire to. Am I happy? Yeah. And that's one of the nicest sort of lessons that I've learned recently. I am happy. In fact, I'm very happy because I realized I collect moments. I collect moments that make me happy, moments that make me smile, and they're fleeting. But I think that's the point of it. See, I think the idea of having these little moments make us appreciate them a lot more than being in a constant state of ecstasy. Because if you think about it, that's just similar to being into like drugs and constantly chasing the next hit that will make you feel something, anything, until those two lose all meaning. And I want things to mean something. I want my happiness to mean love and sharing and kindness, and it's trying to find those little moments that make life worth living. I live close to Paris, and it's a beautiful city with a lot of things to do, and I live just outside of Paris, and the reason I live outside of Paris is because I have a dog. And at the beginning, when I started living by myself with just the dog, I started taking him out to the nearby park, the Bois de Vincennes. And it's about a 10-minute walk from here, and he loves it. We walk there, I take his leash off, and he runs around, and he jumps in the creek, and he splashes around, and he runs after other dogs, and he runs after the crows, which I feel is going to bring a curse upon this household in some way or another. He just turned 10, and for 10 years we've been sharing experiences together. We've traveled around Europe a little bit short, but mostly I feel that he looks forward to going to the park that's 10 minutes away as much as possible. I'm sharing something with him, and I've learned a lot from this little creature. He doesn't give a shit. He's very simple. He has simple tastes. He has little joys. He likes bacon, and he likes to take a bite of my croissant every morning, and he likes his little light up ball. He likes naps in the afternoon, and when he's done with those, he'll get up and stare at me like I'm late to his dress rehearsal, so I can take him outside again. That's what he does. And he likes to bark at the door when there's a noise outside. It's very simple things, and that got me thinking, like, how do I achieve that level of chill? Sure, I'd like to be more like my dog, but I do have to pay taxes and wear pants, so some things are just not possible. But what is my light up ball? I throw this ball for him about 15 minutes every day, and then he gets tired and wants to go home. So he's very good at not overdosing on joy. So what is my light up ball? A few months after I started this channel, I settled with the structure that I needed, the systems that I needed to make sure that I had a script every week before shooting days. So I shoot these on Monday, I post them on Tuesdays. But most of the week I spent thinking about a script, coming up with a script, writing the script, improving the script so that whatever I shoot on Monday, whatever goes live on Tuesday, is something that I can be proud of. And sometimes, the videos don't hit. Sometimes videos are just not that good. Sometimes I feel like I don't say what I wanted to say the way I wanted to say it. But I keep doing this because I am proud that this is teaching me something, I forgot what kind of a point I was making here. Oh, right. Okay. So I started working on this system centered around writing scripts, right? And I realized that one of the things that really helps is journaling with a purpose, writing with the express purpose of coming up with an idea, fleshing out an idea, figuring out if I can do a 15-minute rant from that idea. So for that to happen, I need to write. And like 80% of that writing is done by hand. So writing by hand, writing on a notebook, removes the friction of having to have my laptop with me wherever I go. So a few months ago, I realized that since I get really distracted at home, I'd go outside to write, get a coffee in a street cafe somewhere. I mean, it's Paris. There are cafes everywhere. And, it's pretty outside. It's really pretty outside. Like just outside my flat, it's really pretty. So I figured that I could go downstairs, get coffee, and write on a street side cafe, the way the poets of old used to do. Who the fuck knows? And there's a castle not far from here. I'm not kidding. The Chateau de Vincennes is a short walk that way from my house. And there's a coffee shop across that castle. It's called Le Drapeau. And I've been going there for a few months now. So, at Le Drapeau, they know me already. And they'd be like, bonjour, café crème. And I'll be like, oui, café crème. Thank you. And I get to journal and write my little drafts and be inspired across the street from a 12th century castle. If I were to say this to 16-year-old me, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't believe me. And you know what it is? It's simple. I grab my notebook and a pen and my headphones, and I walk 15 minutes to Le Drapeau, and I sit down and I have a cup of café crème, and I write for about an hour and a half, maybe. It doesn't have to be too long. And that makes me happy. That makes me happy. Now that I've created a sort of habit around it, now I look forward to it. I'm like my dog, because my dog, he knows when walkies are coming up, and he looks at me like, "Come on, let's go. We gotta go. What's the holdup?" So I've created a habit for myself that when the video goes up, it goes up on Tuesdays at 3:30 p.m. Paris time. So when my video goes live, I don't sit at home freaking out about the analytics or how my video is doing. I walk down to Le Drapeau and I write about the next video. I write about what I'm feeling. I write about anything that I have inside of me that's screaming to come out. Sometimes I will journal and just like write a list, and that's good enough. That's fine. But I'm now looking forward to my Tuesday afternoons at Le Drapeau, this cafe across the street from a medieval castle. It's very simple. It's a very simple thing that I do. It's good coffee with a lovely fucking view just down the street from my apartment. I don't have to have a whole conversation with myself about how I wish I could be doing this in a more central part of Paris, because the grass is always greener, right? How I wish I could be doing this if I had more money. How I wish I could be doing this if I was in London, if I was in Madrid, if I was in New York. That's noise, a noise I carried for years, and that noise is gone. I trained it out of me. And I guess part of the lesson is in the sense that, the reason why I get to do this is because it's nearby, because it's right next door. So what's next door to you? I know a lot of people that are watching are probably thinking, well, I live out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing interesting going on. There's nothing cool around here. What do I do in that case? Jack. I remember when I lived in Ohio. Now, I lived in Ohio for a year back in 1996 in a little village called Fayette. Lovely place. Had one traffic light and no ATMs back in 1996. It was fantastic. But if I lived back in Fayette, where I didn't have a chateau 1 mile east, or in like the goddamn Louvre 20 minutes west, why would I be doing? And there was a place nearby my host family's house called Harrison Lake. And Harrison Lake is a beautiful park with big lake and trees that change colors every season. You could just go there and walk around and camp out and just be for as long as you needed. And the point here is there's always something to do if you just keep your eyes open. There was a restaurant called Gaslight Inn, I think, back when I was in Fayette. It was an old school kind of restaurant and smelled of deep fried batter, and it was a fancy place to go to after church. It was a Dairy Queen. We had a Dairy Queen with tables outside. Why can't I just journal outside the Dairy Queen? Why can't I go to the Gaslight Inn? There's always places you can go, and the question I want you to ask yourself is, what do you do in life? Like on a regular day, where do you go? You get in your car, you get in the metro, you get on public transportation. Where do you go? What do you drive past? What is a place close to you that sparks your curiosity for no reason? I've taken a few road trips around France in my time here, and I've noticed there's all these little signs along the road for detours to see historical churches, ruins, or a town that makes really interesting sort of cheese. And there's a bunch of these rust-colored billboards on every highway, and a lot of times I find myself going like, I wonder what that one is. I wonder if I could take a detour. I wonder if I could just like drive left on this particular road and visit the cheese town. And that's just in France. What about where you live? What exists between the places that you go to and from? There's a lake, there's a coffee shop, there's a sports bar. There is something. There's always something, and that something can fit into your schedule as a thing that you like to do, as a thing that you enjoy doing. The little things are going to keep you alive. The little things are going to keep you sane. Happiness is walking my dog to the Bois de Vincennes, meeting other dogs that you can pet. Happiness is my neighbor downstairs who knows the tea on everybody in the neighborhood and invites me for coffee to gossip in French. Happiness is talking to my mom and dad all the way back in Ecuador and finding out how, despite how much we get older, some things stay the same and life goes on. Happiness is going to women's Paris FC match to see those ladies kick ass week in and week out. Whenever there's a home game on Sunday, I try to be there. It's free. Happiness is going to those home games and going to one of those big home games where they actually sell this gigantic chocolate donuts. The happiness donut. Happiness, to me, is cooking a delicious meal for the first time, sharing it with someone. Happiness is walking with my dog, then coming home and sitting my ass down to play video games all night. That makes me happy. Happiness is getting sent a funny tweet from my best friend or having somebody ask me how I'm doing and what was last night's game like. Happiness is discovering that the person you weren't texting because they thought they hated you actually miss you. Happiness is having an idea and writing the outline of a story that I will never finish. Because sometimes you just need to acknowledge that a story came to you, and instead of loading up with guilt because you never finished it. Happiness is slowing down, going into that kitschy mini golf field you drive past every day, seeing an indie music concert, going to a stand-up comedy from someone that you met at work. Happiness is seeing a friend, and sometimes it's seeing nobody. Happiness is recharging at home with a good book, with a good movie, with a fluffy pet. If you stop chasing, wanting more than what's around you, you're going to find how blessed you are. If I had a better job, if I had more money, if I had a car, a bigger car, a smarter car, if I lived somewhere else, buddy, your life's okay. You have trauma, you have sadness, you have loneliness. I get that. So do I. But those large voids can be filled by these sparks of joy and warmth that is the human experience. We live in a time where you can go online and download the thoughts of somebody 300 years ago talking about life, talking about their experience, talking about history. You can do that. You can learn anything you like. You can pick up any activity you're interested in. You can let loose. That's happiness. You're not going to find the answer in another person, in an expensive car, in having a baby. Slow down and look around you. Focus on the little things. By definition, they're easy to miss. Open your eyes. If this video resonated with you, I want you to do one thing. I want you to think of a place that exists in your neighborhood or a place you see every time you go to work. There's a place that catches your eye, a library, a restaurant, a little sign that points you to a park nearby. I want you to keep your eyes open for that place. If you can't think of it right now, you'll definitely see it next time you're out. And I want you to make a point on visiting that place. Bring a notebook and write a list of every single little thing you can think of that makes you feel recharged. Anything that makes you feel loved. Anything that makes you feel at home. You don't need to do anything with that list. You don't need to review it, show it to anyone, or make a plan of action on any of these points. That's not the exercise. All I want you to do is be aware of the things you have around you. My list would have my dog, that castle, and the fact that I live in a time where the world is still growing coffee. It's the little things.